you gonna do, fiat dollar? Or CryptoBullGod and his crypto maniacs and the entire cryptocurrency market run wild on you.
Welcome in. I am the CryptoBullGod, and this is the recorded on Wednesday, airing on Wednesday, December 1st. Crazy to believe. 2021 CryptoBullGod podcast, CBG podcast. You can find me on Twitter, Tradingview, YouTube, and Instagram at CryptoBullGod. So, back to the original format of these podcasts. You know, last week, I'm not sure if you saw, but I did a sort of a TA video / CBG podcast episode. It was actually nice. It was nice to mix it up and do something a little different, but definitely back to the original format today. So, sort of reminds me at work right now. You know, I've been working remote for a long time, and the organization that I work for, pretty much everybody's remote because of this whole beer virus situation. They closed the home office, and everybody's getting so accustomed now to Microsoft Teams and getting on video calls, and I am the last person to want to get on a video call, so I avoid it like the plague. I will get on a video call if it's more senior management and everybody's on video, then of course I'll go on. But it's crazy with the advent of technology. Kind of two thoughts. One, it does help us to remain better connected. So I think video calls in general, for certain purposes, are a very good thing. I think they're a very big positive. But the other thing that I kind of find entertaining is that now that we have the capability to do a video call, people seem to forget what a old school phone call is like. Like, you literally can just pick up the phone and talk to someone. Like, I can listen to your voice, talk to you. I don't need to see your face for every single conversation, okay? Give me a call, talk to me. I mean, my former job, before I worked at the organization I was at now, I was also remote there for a long time. My boss and I developed very good rapport, and I never saw his face for well over a year. I didn't meet him in person. We never did video calls. We always just talked on the phone. So it's just kind of funny. I mean, it's just funny that now that we have this technology, everybody seems to just want to do video calls like all the time. Hey, do you have a quick minute? Yeah, sure. Call me through Teams and somebody's face pops up on Microsoft Teams. I really don't need to see you. Just give me a call on the phone. Like, it's cool. If you got a quick question, just call me on the phone. It's all good. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. Anyway, did want to remind everyone, I'm going to leave a link in the description that I do another podcast with my brother. It's a different channel, so I will leave a link in the description. It's CryptoBroz. We were supposed to record actually an episode today, and my brother had some things come up with work, so game plan at the moment, although I haven't seen the outline, but the game plan at the moment is to record it on Friday. So in which case we'll record a new episode on Friday and release it. I'll have it released by the weekend. But check that channel out, CryptoBroz. And before we get into the podcast with all sorts of various fun topics, what you can do to help me out as a content creator is always just literally take a second and please click the thumbs up button. Yes, click the thumbs up button. Please click the thumbs up button. And the other thing you can do, just drop me a comment. And it's not just, you have to understand, it's not just clicking the thumbs up button, but actually leaving a comment. It can be anything. You could say your name. You could say my name. You could say hi. You could say hello. You could say you suck. You could say you're awesome. I don't care. But when you drop a comment, what it does is it helps to put me ahead of other content creators, that when people are searching for various things, I come up, right? So if you appreciate what I do, which if you're listening, I don't know why else you would be listening. The sound of my voice is not that soothing. And you want to spread my content throughout the community, then that's the best thing you can do. It's not just a thumbs up, it's also leaving a comment. So I really appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel and you're new, consider subscribing at the end of the segment. The end of the segment? There's several segments, so I don't know about at the end of the segment. I don't know. I don't have too much. Actually, I don't have as much formality in this podcast as I typically do in other weeks. But at the end of the podcast, if you do like the content, consider subscribing as well. So I hope everyone, real quick before we get into crypto stuff, I hope everyone. Had a really nice Thanksgiving. Mine was very chill, to say the least. And now that we're turning the page on Thanksgiving, we're turning ahead to Christmas. So Christmas is literally 24 days away, which is crazy. And yes, I said Christmas. I didn't say the holidays. I know everybody's overly sensitive. You can't say Merry Christmas to anyone anymore. That stopped years ago. We can't say Merry Christmas. We have to say Happy Holidays. Things like this are just funny to me. I still say Merry Christmas, so I don't say Happy Holidays. Screw the term Happy Holidays. I will say Merry Christmas. I love everyone. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm just trying to be friendly. I celebrate Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I honestly could care less. I'm just trying to be friendly. So Merry Christmas early to everyone listening. It's my personal favorite time of the year. So let's get in to the name of this podcast. And it is $100,000 bet. I don't have any sound effects. I'm hoping someday I do. So for those who have been here for a little bit, you probably know what I'm speaking to. This is not literally a $100,000 bet that I made with anyone. This was a bet surrounding the price of Bitcoin appreciating to that value, $100,000 per Bitcoin, by a specified date, and that would be with Minischiff. So the history, real quick as a recap, super quick, is I bet Minischiff that Bitcoin would hit $50,000 this year. He took the bet. I said it would. He said it wouldn't. I won the bet. He owed me a night out, right? A night out, drinks, whatever, dinner, whatever. And so he obviously lost the bet pretty early on in the year. And I said, how about this? Double or nothing? So I said before the end of the year, okay, by 12/31, Bitcoin will hit $100,000. Okay, so if I win, that would mean that Bitcoin has hit $100,000 by 12/31 of this year, and he would owe me essentially two extravagant nights out or one mega night out. I'm not sure which I'd want to do. And if it doesn't hit $100,000 before the end of the year, I lose the bet, and he owes me nothing. Okay, so there's a lot riding on this, and I would say that the probabilities in my head of Bitcoin hitting $100,000 by 12/31 have, in my mind, significantly decreased, because November was not the month I was expecting, and we'll get a little bit more into that, but November was not as bullish a month as I was anticipating. I mean, I really wanted to see Bitcoin hit a price over $70,000, maybe get up into the, $80,000 range in November, and it didn't happen. But I will say this, there is still a reasonable likelihood that things could start to get parabolic and Bitcoin could hit $100,000 this month. You don't have to look very far to see the reasonability of that. If you go back to 2017, and again, if you follow the general cycle of what we've been going through up and through this point, starting the bear market in 2018 all the way up through 2021, what you'll see is the price behavior is not exactly the same, but it's similar in nature to prior cycles, okay? And in particular, the last cycle. And if you go back to the last, a lot of us on Twitter, what we call a 4-year cycle. If you go back to the last 4-year cycle and you study the price behavior of Bitcoin, what you'll see is typically what we've done is we've when we say a 4-year cycle, what does it actually mean? Well, it's essentially time periods between the halvings, and it encompasses price action that is comprised of both a massive bear market, okay, which we are going to undergo again, and a massive bull market. So it's basically massive bearish price action because prices became way overextended. Things sell off. They go down 80, 90, 95, 99%. And then there's reaccumulation. There's a long period of reaccumulation at suppressed prices, gradual price appreciation, and then the time period we're at now, which is the most bullish phase. We're about to enter euphoria, which is something that I've referred to a lot. So if you go back and you study the last cycle, what you'll see is towards the end there in 2017, the price doubling within a span of 4 weeks did occur. And actually, it went up more than 100%. So you might say to me, well, one argument you might have against that being realistic. So let's just say, hypothetically, Bitcoin within 4 weeks was over $100,000. You might say to me, okay. Look, you're smoking something. This was back in 2017. Bitcoin, its market capitalization was a lot lower. The crypto market was a lot lower overall in valuation. And so if you understand some fundamentals of investing, liquidity is lower. It's easier to move price. Think of it as a weight. Like, things aren't heavily as weighted. It's not easy to move. It's easier. Think of it. This is actually a good analogy I just came up with. Think of a 5-pound plate. I'm going to relate this to the gym. For all those who follow me on Twitter, CryptoBullGod, I'm and Instagram, actually. I'm quite the avid lifter. So think of 2017. Bitcoin represented a 5-pound dumbbell. Okay, it's real easy to move that 5-pound dumbbell along, right? It's a lot easier to move it around, just like it's a lot easier to move the price. Well, now Bitcoin, it weighs like, 20 pounds. And so it's a little bit harder to move that 20-pound dumbbell around, right? Well, as much as I can follow the logic there, and I think that that's a good thought process, what I would also say is this. I would also argue that the dollar has devalued tremendously over time, just in the span of the past 4 years. And there's a greater supply of dollars within the economy, which has devalued things naturally. Okay, just a basic law of economics, supply and demand. Okay, for example, $1 million or $1 billion today is a lot less than what it was 4 years ago. And the crypto market, as it exists today, even though it's an immature market, is a lot more grown up than it was past then. There's a lot more money flooding into the system. So I still think it's entirely possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's entirely possible, especially if we have a euphoric blow off top in Bitcoin in January. Maybe we're off by 1 month based on my original hypothesis of it topping in December. It's entirely possible that you could get a massive green monthly candle on Bitcoin, which ultimately results in it hitting a price over $100,000 this month. Do I think it's possible? Yes. Do I think it's likely? I feel very cautious. I need to see how this first week in particular develops. And by first week, by the way, I don't mean the end of this week. I mean the first full week in December, which would be, the 1st through the 8th, which would be by next Wednesday. So I want to see how the first week develops. But I'm very cautious. I still think there is a reasonable possibility that I will win this $100,000 bet with Minischiff. But I also think it's very reasonable and likely as well for it not to hit $100,000 this month. Maybe we go up to, $80,000, the $80,000 range or $90,000 range, and fall short of $100,000. And something else that, and I think some of the other Twitter questions kind of got into this. So some of this I might answer right now, and it has to do with the timing of the top. So right off the bat, what I'd address is the fact that I do feel uberly confident that Bitcoin is not going to top this month. Okay, my original call, if you've been following me, I had a primary hypothesis and then an alternative hypothesis. So my primary hypothesis was that Bitcoin would top in December and the rest of the altcoins would top, relatively shortly thereafter, several weeks out in January. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's evident because, like I said, November did not play out the way I was expecting. But if you follow me on Twitter, don't take those words the wrong way. This just has to do with timing. It has nothing to do with any concern in price levels of where we're at. I tweet charts out all the time that show that, hey, just if you zoom out and you look at a 1 week chart or a 1 month chart, or I posted a tweeted a 4-month chart. We look completely fine. It's just what I'm getting the growing sense is people are becoming overly fixated on the timing of this top. And what they really, again, that's introducing emotion in my opinion. What you really need to do to be successful in this cycle and in this generational wealth transfer opportunity, in my opinion, and where my efforts are focused on, is how can you tell when things are going to top? And to that note, I'm hoping that I have the time to put out a TA video looking at the handful, okay, keep it stupid simple, the handful of data points I am going to look to tell me most likely if Bitcoin is at or near a top. Okay, that's what you need to be concerned with. That's what you should be focused on. Whether Bitcoin topped this month or it tops in March of next year, why the hell does it matter? I keep repeating these same things over and over again. The timing of when I thought we would top initially, my primary hypothesis in terms of when I thought we would top, looks like it's going to be incorrect. But I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is, am I able to decipher when things are at or near a top? Because ultimately, that's what's going to decide my success in investing in this market. Whether Bitcoin tops in December, January, February, March, April, May, or June, I don't give two fucks. I don't. One of the other things I'll add to that is, again, go back and you can listen to anything that I've recorded that's out there. You can read any of my tweets, and I put out the same consistent messaging. The longer this cycle plays out, let's say that Bitcoin, tops in March of next year, okay? If there's another 3 months to allow things to accumulate and gradually increase in value, what that should do, and I've spoken to this, is the more time that has elapsed to allow for accumulation and expansion, the higher price should theoretically go. So you should be excited by that. And the other thing you need to consider is, depending upon when you scaled into many of your investments, if you're selling out in March or April of next year versus December or January in these next 2 months, more of the gains that you make in this market will be taxed at a long-term capital gains tax rate of 20% versus a short-term capital gains tax that is taxed at ordinary income rates. And if you know anything about tax rates, that should leave you feeling pretty fucking good, okay? Me personally, if this market extends out until, like I said, March, April, May of next year, the only thing it's going to do is benefit me because, like I said, theoretically, prices should expand even higher than what a lot of people think. And I'm going to be taxed at a lower rate. Why would I not be happy with that? So just, don't take your eyes off the prize, son. Don't take your eyes off the prize, all right? Your eyes on the prize. Your eyes should be on the prize, which is understanding where prices will likely go and how and what my exit strategy is going to be. Whether that's 1 month from now or 6 months from now, what does it matter? Just take a deep breath. Too many people are getting caught up on the timing of all of this. Really. And I just hope that no one's missing the most important piece of the puzzle and the picture here, which is, how can we tell when things are topping? We can be incorrect with the timing, and we feel confident that we're incorrect with the timing because, again, we can read charts. But the other thing that being able to read charts and data science models tells us is, and I've repeated this over and over and over again, there's nothing that I've looked at that says we've topped. And I'll expand upon that in my TA video when I get it out there. There's nothing in any chart or data science model that says we've topped. The only thing that I see are prices are ready to explode. I can't tell you if that's tomorrow. I can't tell you if that's next week or a month from now. As always, when I read a chart, I take the best educated guess I can to share with you what I see. Everything that I do is an educated guess. And if you're following anyone else, and hopefully you are, but hopefully you're following other good content creators and they're saying similar things. All they can do is take educated guesses based on past data and current data to make informed decisions about what's going on today and moving forward. That's all we can do as legitimate, good analytics people. That's what I'll call us, analytics people. I'm not sure what else what term to put on that. But just don't overcomplicate things, okay? And as far as one other quick comment. As far as the timing, again, my alternative hypothesis, which I think is what's playing out here, which is top Bitcoin. Again, I've always said Bitcoin, and then alts will top a little after that. Bitcoin will top sometime within the first half of 2022, and really I said by July. Okay, at the latest by July. But here's the thing that I don't want you to miss with that. Saying within, the first half of next year is not saying in 6 months. So what I'm not saying is my alternative hypothesis is that Bitcoin's topping in June or July. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying at some point within the first half. So what I'm going to do as a chartist and as a data scientist, model evaluator, is I'm going to look at the data points I'm looking at, okay? And I'm going to stay abreast of emerging price data to tell me if it's most likely that Bitcoin looks like it's topping in January or February or March or May or July. But at some point within that time frame, whether it's January or July, at the latest, in my opinion, Bitcoin is going to top. That is my alternative hypothesis. Yeah, I'm just going to continue to stay on top of things this month, see how price develops. Then we're going to go into next month and see how price develops. And at some point, based on the data points that I'm going to share with you, and I'm hoping I can get this thing out before Christmas, based on the data points that I'm evaluating, it's going to tell me if Bitcoin is at or near a top. And it's going to be at some point within the first half of next year. So I think that's all I have to say about that. So I hope that was helpful. I just see a lot of people on Twitter in particular getting really honed in on this timing when that's really not the thing you should be focusing on. You should be focusing on how am I as how should I word this? As an investor in cryptocurrencies and holding these digital assets, how will I know when to sell? Okay? And what's my sell strategy? That's what you should be focused on. And the fact that you feel convicted that we haven't topped yet, that's really what you should be focused on. Well, and one more thing. And there's all these things popping in my brain. The other thing in the back of your head is hopefully you're under the impression that we are going to go through euphoria again. I mean, things are going to become, I've said this consistently, things are going to become massively overvalued, and they're going to come massively down in price, just like we saw, very similar in my opinion, to what we saw last cycle. So it's important to have that sell strategy. Now, let's get into the chart of the week before we get to Twitter questions, because I think there's a fair amount of Twitter questions this time, which is great to see. So let me pull up this chart. Now, the chart of the week is actually going to be something that I had tweeted about, and I'm not going to go through all the responses again, but I don't think anyone guessed what this chart is. So if you're not following me on Twitter, I don't know what to tell you. I just smacked my legs. I don't know why I just smacked my legs. Quadzilla, right here. Just had a leg day today, actually. It was pretty good. I had a deload day, real high repetitions, quick breaks. The CryptoBullGod and I We were tearing it up even though we were in separate gyms. Teary face. But we both had a deload day. And it was, those are actually some of the worst leg days because I'll drop the weight and go high reps, 10 to 13, and quick breaks, and it's exhausting. So anyway, let's get into this chart. So I tweeted this chart out, and basically what I did was I said to the XRP community and the XRP army, and I just had XRP and XLM based on the hashtags, people that would be invested in either of those assets. What is this chart? And are you bullish or bearish on it? So basically, I got some replies, didn't lead on to what it was, but I'll tell you what I see in this. I'll tell you what I see, and then I'll tell you what the chart is and how to interpret it. So it is important you follow me on Twitter, else this is not going to make any sense whatsoever because you're not going to have the chart in front of you. So my suggestion is if you want to pause this or come back to it, okay, come back to this segment, look at the chart that I tweeted, and then listen to my commentary. Now, first off, what I see here are higher highs and higher lows, okay? There's an upwards trend here. I can see that in the beginning of July, we created a high, sort of a wave up, came back down in November of 2020, consolidated, made a huge move up in January, and have since come down and formed another higher low, okay? I'm going to tell you what this chart is. Now, first off, the chart is XRP XLM. So it's the ratio of the XRP USD value divided by the XLM USD value. And it's an inverted chart. What does that mean? Well, instead of on the y-axis, instead of the prices going up in value, they're going down in value. Because basically what an inverted chart is taking the chart and turning it upside down. So it gives you a different perspective on how to read a chart. You interpret it the same way. I know this is a little crazy if you've never done this before, but basically when you invert a chart, you analyze the chart the same way as if it was not inverted, okay? And the conclusions that you reach on an inverted chart are valid, but then what you have to do is if you want to kind of connect the dots on what it means if it's not making sense to you, draw a conclusion on the inverted chart, draw out what you think's going to happen, okay? Draw it out on an inverted chart, and then uninvert the chart, put it back to normal, and it's a valid conclusion. So basically what I see here is I see higher highs and higher lows, and it's very possible that we could create another higher high. Now, what does this actually mean? Well, let me put it to you like this. What we're doing is we're looking at a ratio of the USD value. This has nothing, again, whenever I look at relativity charts, this has nothing to do with market capitalization. The market capitalization of XRP is much higher than XLM. This has nothing to do with market cap. All we're doing is looking at the dollar value. And that should matter to you as an investor, because the dollar value is what matters to you if it appreciates or depreciates in value as an investor. If I own something and it's worth $5 in USD, and it goes up to 10, it just doubled. My investment doubled, right? Just like if it goes to 0, I lose everything. You follow what I'm saying? So the XRP to XLM ratio, all it's doing is taking the ratio of the two USD values. So a ratio of 1 means that XRP at, say, $5, if the ratio is 1, it means if XRP is $5, XLM must be $5, okay? If the ratio, again, it's XRP divided by XLM. If the ratio is above 1.0, it means that the USD value of XRP is greater than XLM. If the ratio is less than 1.0, it means that the XLM USD value is greater than the XRP USD value. Right now, the ratio reads 3. So what does that mean? It means that if you took the XRP USD value and divided it by 3, you would get the XLM value in US dollars. Or conversely, if you took the XLM USD value and multiplied it by 3, you would get the XRP USD value. Now, because the values on the y-axis are inverted, and as we go up the chart, the values are actually decreasing, what I'm saying is it's quite possible that we could put in a higher high on this inverted view, which is really a lower low on a non-inverted view, meaning that the XRP or the XLM value could at some point, its USD value could exceed by a significant amount the XRP USD value. So I really just want you to digest this, okay? Again, go back to this portion of the podcast, pull the chart up in front of you. Just keep in mind we're dividing USD values on both assets. Keep in mind that the chart is inverted. So draw out your conclusions on this chart. Think about what's going to happen in this chart, and then uninvert it, and that's really what's going on. Okay, so in this case, if we're going up in value on the inverted chart, XRP, XLM, really the value is going down. It's going down, okay? So that is the chart of the week. I really want you, especially if you're a holder of XRP and XLM, I really want you to take a look at this chart and understand it. And if you have any questions, you can either drop them in the podcast or you can interact with me. Don't DM me. Please don't DM me on Twitter. I have too many DMs on Twitter. I cannot get to them. There are people that I'll reply to on a DM. Either I haven't replied to them since God knows when, or it'll be like 6 months later. Please do not DM me. At some point, I might just deactivate my DMs. It's just too much to keep track of. If you want to interact with me, please just tweet at me, okay? And that's hard enough at this point. I've just been busy lately. I love helping everyone. It's a challenge sometimes. So interact with me, ask me your questions, and I will do my best. I will do my best to get back to you. So with that being said, this is actually my favorite part of the podcast. Let's get into some Twitter questions. All right, first question. None of these are in order. It's just in order of how I see it. This question coming from, I haven't seen this username before. Thank you for the question. Bucket. Essentially, the question is tokens that this individual feel has strong fundamental use cases in the financial system like HBAR, XLM, and XRP. He's asking what his investment strategy should be versus selling and holding on, right? Here's my own personal opinion. Again, nothing I provide in this podcast is ever financial advice. It's just opinions. It's my opinions. You do with it what you will. My belief is that prices are going to get very overextended, okay? Very overextended, hence euphoria. Things are going to get euphoric, and then prices are going to massively correct, okay? Okay? I'm just telling you I'm just basing this on history. I don't think it's an intelligent decision to think for 1 second that because you own HBAR or XLM or XRP, that those assets aren't going to see a similar rate of depreciation and value relative to every other asset in the space. If you think they're going to retain their value and everything else is going to go down, you need to pass over. You need to meet up with me in South Florida and share whatever you're smoking, because that shit's not happening. All right? Everything, okay? My educated view, okay, based on past cycles. Once everything, I don't give two fucks what you own. Once everything becomes overvalued, because everything will. Everything, again, don't give two fucks what you own. Everything will become massively suppressed in value and correct 85, 90, 95, 99% in value. So food for thought on what you want to do there, my friend, but that's my view. Next question. What should our indicators be to get out of an altcoin? What should we be watching to see? Okay, so this is a really good question. Thank you, Crypto Demon. And by the way, I really like your Twitter profile photo. It's pretty cool. So this is a really good question. And I think my TA video is going to help with this, because one of the key indicators to tell you that your altcoin is soon going to become massively overvalued is that Bitcoin is at or near a top, okay? Bitcoin has topped. Money's going to start flooding into your alts, and they're going to get topped soon. So that's your one indicator. And then, then it's based on what price projections have you come up for altcoins. I've put out videos out there that have come up with unique ways to try to value a lot of these altcoins. I have a lot of thoughts around it. You have things called fib extensions, coming up with price multiples for tops that may be reasonable relative to what we experience with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So a lot of different ways to look at that. All right, getting into the second question here. I already answered the first part, thoughts on timings for the end of the BTC bull market, thoughts on Willy Woo and Plan B. There will not be another deep bear market and super cycle. Clearly, you haven't been here for a while, or you haven't been listening to me, happy investor. So, super cycle can suck it's not happening. Anybody who's telling you, this is just my opinion, anybody who's telling you that we're going to go to some super cycle and Bitcoin's going to 500,000 or a million this cycle, or there's not going to be a deep bear market, they're a maximalist that is being very, very ignorant. For all those South Park fans, the Michael Jackson episode, very ignorant. I don't know why that just came to mind. You guys are being very ignorant. Not to be so ignorant. So I don't believe that for a second. Let's go to the next question. What kind of workout routines do you... Oh, this is a great question. I didn't like this one. What workout routines do you follow, and what is your diet like? Well, right now to my left, I actually have some French fries, no joke. They're healthier versions of French fries, but I've paused. Not that you could tell. Crunch, crunch. But I paused the podcast a couple times to chew on them because I'm hungry and I want to eat dinner. Let me answer the second question. My diet... this is actually a really good question. I could go on for 20 minutes, but I'm not going to. Because I do have, working out and then being fit and exercising and weight training, all that stuff. It's a huge passion of mine. And arguably, it's been the biggest passion of my entire life because I started weight training at age 14. And I'm not going to say what year, but technically 14 and a half years of age. And I've never stopped ever since. I've been very consistent. Never have I even taken a week off. And I'm not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating. So I've worked out my entire life. So I love it. And, one of the things that I really learned along the way is that, different diets work for different people. But one thing I can comment on is extremes do not work. I've tried all sorts of different diets. And I finally have gotten to a point in my life now for several years where the way I would describe my diet is I don't measure anything. I don't count my macros. To me, that's not sustainable for the long term for me. I just eat healthy. I listen to my body. I eat fats, carbohydrates, proteins. And the other thing is because I've introduced healthy foods into my diet, what looks like tasty food to me, like I'm going to be making some Brussels sprouts here with either tilapia or chicken, that sounds really delicious to me, and I'm not depriving myself of anything. So I've naturally adapted to a healthier lifestyle in how I eat. It's very healthy food, and it makes me feel very happy eating that food. But if I want to have French fries, or I'm out with the CryptoBullGod and she's feeling the cravings and she needs a brownie, or whatever the case is, I enjoy that stuff, and I definitely enjoy alcohol. I love wine. I'm a huge wine connoisseur. I love whiskey. So I definitely enjoy my alcohol too, going out. And I just think it's about moderation. I think it's, doing something that is sustainable for the long term that works for you. There really is no crazy secret. I don't take any crazy supplements. I just eat healthy. And then what kind of workout routines do you follow? It's such a tough question. I murder myself when I go into the gym. Something I've learned more so is to take deload weeks and weeks where I'm not killing myself as much. But it's actually harder for me to take my foot off the pedal versus putting my foot on the pedal, which is the reverse of what the issue is for most people. I can't really describe my workout routines other than I keep things very high intensity. I hit all my body parts. Rep ranges depend on exercises. I typically like to go lower rep on squats and deadlifts. Other rep ranges for most of my lifts, it's anywhere between 6 to 10. 6 to 10 is typically my rep range. Lighter days, I'll go up to 12 to 13, maybe even 15. But I like to keep things high intensity and constantly moving. I'm constantly moving between different exercises, doing different, like today, like Tuesday is a great example. I did a back and tricep workout where, I'll go between rows and a tricep exercise, or lat pull down and a tricep exercise. But on more compound movements like squats and deadlifts, I don't do that. I just stick to my one fundamental lift and sit down and take a break in between sets. Hopefully that was helpful. That was a lot of information. Still a lot of questions to get through here. All right, so by the way, just so you don't take that the wrong way, I love going through these questions. What I'm looking at, I'll tell you what I'm looking at, is the recording time. And my fear is that some of these podcasts go too long and people feel disengaged when the content is too long, which honestly I don't understand, because I listen to Joe Rogan and his podcast can be 3.5 hours and I'll just listen to it. Like, you don't need to watch this. There's no reason to be, unless if you like looking at the graphic that's on your screen right now with the whiskey bottle, the Hibiki whiskey bottle and the Litecoin XRP Bitcoin coins. Unless you like looking at that and the cigar, like, there's no reason to look at your phone right now or your computer. Like, you can just listen. So anyway, H-bar price targets changed. Have they changed? Circulating supply. So I haven't watched. Dude, I appreciate you sharing this video. Pro Patty. I'll watch it at some point. I will watch it at some point. I never say something that I don't mean. So I'll watch it at some point. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But real quick, H-bar price targets have not changed. Watch the Holy Crypto Trinity video. In there, I tell you price ranges and my feeling in terms of the likelihood of them reaching those certain price ranges, and nothing has changed there. And then as far as your question, circulating supply is going to increase the price of something for sure. The question you should be asking yourself is, how much is the circulating supply increasing? So there's a lot of FUD out there relating certain projects, which will remain unnamed, regarding the circulating supply and then how much it's actually impacting the price. So obviously it's the basic laws of economics that if the supply of something is greater, the price is going to be lower. If the supply is lower, the price is going to be higher. So certainly the circulating supply is going to impact the price. But the question you really need to ask yourself at the root of all this is, how much is the circulating supply increasing? Hopefully that was helpful. Next question. You've been on here a few times asking questions and interacting. You might have actually been on Chartmania too. I appreciate the question here, Mott. So Credible Crypto, yes, I like Credible Crypto a lot. I think he puts out great content. I have not watched in the entirety his YouTube video on the BTC top, so I can't answer this question. It's one of those videos. This happens quite often where I'll watch part of it and then I just need to get back to it. So, yeah, I haven't watched it. I just don't think it's fair to comment. I will say this. I value his opinion a lot. If I think about it after I watch the video, I'll answer it in the next podcast. But if I don't think about it, just stick with me here. Ask me the question again for next podcast, because I should be able to finish watching it between now and then. But I can't comment on it until I've watched the video. Thoughts on lengthening cycles? Let me like this comment because I have not. Yeah, I already answered that, Steve. So, by the way, Steve, I appreciate you interacting with me. Like, really, you always ask questions and interact with me here on Twitter for the podcast. So, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. One quick comment on this, because I think I commented on this before, actually. If Bitcoin tops between January to March, I would argue that that's not a lengthened cycle. That's only a month to 3 months at most, okay? That's not a lengthened cycle. If we start getting into the latter half, or we start getting into like May, June, July, yeah, we can absolutely talk about the fact that the cycle lengthened. Okay, then I don't think there's any debate. April to me is a gray area. Once we start getting into May, June, and July, I think it's subjective, in my opinion. Then we can say, yeah, lengthening cycles for sure. But as of right now, I'm just playing it by ear, reading my data points and telling me, when within this first half are we going to start topping. So let's not talk about lengthening cycles until we know that the cycle has actually completed. Oh, this may be a really good question here. Let me see here. What do you think about the timing of things that fall under the meta umbrella, like mana? Do you think they'll peak at different times as everything else since they seem to be sucking the air out of other projects? Look, I mean, no one. Okay, thank you for the question, by the way. Nanny, oh boy, the crypto bull goddess would be so upset with me. I can't even do the end tildes right. Nanny Pena, I think that's correct. No one can predict the exact timing of when certain narratives will start topping. Okay. Well, I will say, let me comment real quick. Sorry for the crunching. So it's French fries again. By the way, the French fries, for those who are familiar, they're the Alexia. You can get them at Publix, Whole Foods, any of your local grocery stores. Very good. These are like the waffle seasoned fries. They're very good. Like I said, they're healthier. They're not healthy. They're not healthy, but they're healthier. I'm more of a salty than sweet. So anyway, they're very tasty. But what you have to understand is we can't predict the timing of when things are going to run from a narrative perspective and front runners versus late runners. But what we can do is we can come up with educated guesses, educated thought processes on where tops might be. So Mana is a great example. Let's stick with Mana since I'm pretty familiar with the project and my price evaluation. Mana has appreciated to a value of over $5, close to $6, a lot sooner than I thought it would. Does that mean that the price ranges that I've indicated in the Holy Crypto Trinity video are invalid? No, it does not. Does it mean that we could reach some of the upper end ranges of what I've communicated? Yeah, it's quite possible. The other thing you have to realize with things that have run so hard like Mana, and I've tweeted this out, as much as I love the project, look, it's part of the Holy Crypto Trinity. Dear God, Mana, HBAR, and One. I said these three assets will lead us to the promised land, financial freedom. Right? So clearly I love the project. But it doesn't mean as an educated individual that I can't look at the fact that it's already run up to $6, that One and HBAR, as two examples, are much better investments, in my opinion, at these price levels than Mana. It's just overextended. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Mana just continue to consolidate at some point as other altcoins make their run up. That to me just seems so intuitive and common sense that things just can't keep going up. At some point, there has to be a healthy pullback and a healthy correction for price consolidation before further price movements up. But I can't tell you the timing of some of these projects and when they're going to time relative to the rest of the market. Nobody does. Whey protein or whiskey after a workout? Yo, Crypto RL, this is an awesome question. And then related question from John, which I appreciate, is about the data science within beer. By the way, John, I have heard that. So the data science is that actually drinking a beer, and I think Arnold did this, Schwarzenegger did this as well. I might have to try this sometime because I've never done it. Actually, drinking a beer after a workout is a good thing. The alcohol I can't see being a good thing, but the carbohydrates I could see being a good thing. It is a carbohydrate source, so it wouldn't surprise me if some sort of study suggested that it actually is good for muscle growth. That wouldn't surprise me. But alcohol is obviously not good for the body, so that I'd have to. You know what, John? Can you don't DM me? Like I said, don't DM me, but just reply back if you're listening and just send me the link to a study that shows that, because I'd be interested to read about it. And then whey protein or whiskey? Well, let me tell you, my friend. I've never done whiskey. I've never done whiskey right after a workout. But I think once we actually get to the point where this cycle is topping and I'm scaling out of my investments and looking at the realized gains that I have, not paper gains, but I'm looking at the realized gains, I might come back from a workout one day and have myself a whiskey. I might do that. I might go into a live stream. At about 10:30 in the morning. I come back from a killer leg workout. I come back in the Johnny Walker Blue Label Ghost and Rare Distillery. As you'll recall, if you've been here for a little bit, I finally popped that bad boy open post-workout, and I'm having a glass, and that's all I'm having. I'll be shit-faced within, 30 minutes. But, this is one time in your life, right? This is a generational wealth transfer opportunity. So these opportunities don't come around much. Thank you for the question. I do appreciate non-crypto questions. I mean, as much as I love cryptocurrency, I'm here for a reason. I mean, we can only talk about cryptocurrency so long. We got to get off the cryptocurrency topics and talk about other things, right? Let me see here. Next question. Ooh. Next question, the Bearded Lumberjack. Well, I have a friend whose name is the Lumberjack. Seems like a little competition on names here. The Bearded Lumberjack asks, is CSPR as great as it looks at first? I haven't done research, so I know a few people I respect like Nick. If you're not giving him a follow, by the way, on Twitter, Ncash Official, I appreciate his content. I think he does a nice job. He's talked about CSPR. I'm not sure if Credible Crypto has or not, but I know Ncash has. So I'm not familiar with it. I'd have to do my research. I'm not sure, my friend. All right, and the last question, and one last time before I answer this last question, I do sincerely want to thank you for all the questions. I enjoy doing this content, and the thing that makes it even more enjoyable for me is when I get people that interact with me. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. So last question here. This is someone new I haven't seen before, so thank you for following me on Twitter and hopefully subscribing to the YouTube channel here, Phantom5. Hello from Cape Town. Big fan. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you're a big fan. Two questions. My question for you is, are you a big fan of me or are you a big fan of the CryptoBullGod? Because that's not clear to me. Two questions. Does the amount of supply affect price action? Okay, when more coins are added, I answered that earlier. If you're not sure, go back, listen. Someone asked about supply, so it's a good question, but I answered that earlier. Question 2, bought Sushi Xlm after your amazing call on Mana. Well, let me just stop you right there before you get to the question. Look, I felt very confident Mana was going to run. And I actually, so full disclosure, what I had kind of pulled off to the side was, I'm expecting, basically I had some analytics pulled off to the side and a sell strategy. I was like, well, I see Mana going up to like the $2 to $3 range. Well, the thing went up to $5. I mean, sometimes things run harder than you think. So as much as it was an awesome call from an investment perspective, I'll take credit for that. Because the market structure is beautiful. It's a great project, great narrative. It did run harder than I thought, and that's going to continue to happen. I mean, some things will appreciate greater in value than what you think and will do not as great as you think. Like, that's going to happen. No one has perfect calls, but thank you. I appreciate that. It's part of the Holy Crypto Trinity Mana. You still super bullish on all? So let me ask the question again. So Sushi and Xlm, this is what you're getting at. Sushi and Xlm, are you still super bullish? And are the Holy Crypto Trinity tops still unchanged? So the Holy Crypto Trinity, I answered that earlier. By the way, I tweeted this out. I might combine it into one video. Because I only have so much time. Especially when you're under the impression that, look, I mean, depending how December plays out, Bitcoin could top in January. It's very possible. So, or February or March. So time is of the essence. I mean, I want to continue to get content out there that's going to help everyone. So one of the videos that I talked about putting out there was actually an update on my thoughts on price ranges with the Holy Crypto Trinity, getting into a little bit more detail, and then also an update on the charts and what I see in the charts. And I might combine that with the live stream that I wanted to put out there, taking TA questions to thank everyone for getting me up to 7,000 followers on Twitter. I was very appreciative of that, and I'm going to stick with that, getting that video out there. But I might combine the two into one video. So anyway, in short, nothing or not much has changed with the tops within any of the projects. I can comment on that in a video. And then Sushi and XLM, I am still mega bullish. Mega bullish. Wait, hold on a second. I'm not sure if you heard that. I am still personally, again, never financial advice, but CBG is mega bullish on both Sushi and XLM appreciating massively in value by the end of this bull cycle. So, one quick thing I'll say to close out this question and then get into the end of this podcast. If you look at Mana as an example, okay, and I'm seeing the same thing with HBAR right now. Mana, all it was doing, the price looks so blah. You had a lot of altcoins that were running off. Quant was running off. That's the first one that hit me. But there were other projects running off, right? Maybe Avalanche, I'm not really sure. Or Luna. And, Mana was just doing its thing. And it was just kind of hovering around that 70, 80 cent area. And I kept tweeting. I was pretty persistent. I was pretty fucking persistent about tweeting about a fractal and saying, hey, guys, things are accumulating. And, things are going to, tear off real soon here. So you might want to, get in at these low levels of, 78 cents in Mana. And then all of a sudden we tore off the prices of $5 that I didn't see it going that high, but the thing tore off to $5. The point is that you have to be able to see through the noise and the emotion to be able to put into focus the opportunity of investment opportunities that both from a technical perspective, from a technical perspective and a fundamental perspective that provide opportunity. I've always said to you that my larger positions are always something that just isn't technical. It's also from a fundamental perspective. I don't mind doing a quote-unquote swing trade with a very small amount of money, that's just based on the technicals, and I don't really understand the fundamentals. I don't mind doing that. But anything that I have a significant value in, that I deem to be significant value, it's subjective, is both based on the technicals as well as the fundamentals. And all I saw within Mana was, look, the thing's consolidating and it's going to break out. Sushi, all that's going on right now is there's a massive bull flag and there's just consolidation. Once this thing breaks out and it's a low cap, it's just over the top 100 right now. It's less than a I don't want to misquote it. It's less than $1 billion. Had to think about the zeros there for a second. Not $1 million, $1 billion. It's less than $1 billion in value. Okay, I want you to think about that for a second. It's just outside the top 100. That has a lot less liquidity. If you're still here from the beginning of the podcast, drop a comment and leave a like. That's like a 1 pound plate, and you can pick that thing up and flick it with your pinky. Okay, you can move that thing. It doesn't have a lot of liquidity. Once it breaks out of that bull pennant. Okay, just even as a technical analyst, anybody who's in that thing, there are going to be people playing that trade. There are going to obviously be people like myself who are invested in it, but there will be people playing that trade as well that will recognize it, and the thing's going to go up tremendously in value. Same with XLM. XLM is in a massive cup and handle that I pointed out earlier in a TA video. So yeah, I still feel epically bullish on both. Never financial advice, just telling you what I see in the charts. You know what? So one more time, clapping my hands. I'm bowing right now. Then I'm going to go out and eat because I'm freaking hungry. So I wanted to thank everyone. And in closing, please join me in a moment of silence for all of those I attempted on multiple occasions to get into the cryptocurrency market and have remained, even the intelligent ones, even the super smart ones, they've remained ignorant. Thank you, my friends.